Welcome back. Who's the breadwinner in your house? A recent study by the University of New Hampshire shows wives now account for 47% of a household's income, up from 45%. Granted, researchers say the increase is due largely to husbands who were laid off during the recession, but the fact remains that women's economic power is growing. Here now to talk about that is Maddie Dykewald, author of the book Influence: How Women's Soaring Economic Power Will Transform Our World for the Better. And you're also the co-founder of AgeWave. First, talk about AgeWave. What does AgeWave aim to do?
Well, AgeWave is a think tank, and we've been around since 1986, and we do primary research, we do consulting, we do keynote kind of speeches about how the demographic shifts are creating future trends that affect business, lifestyle, the way we live our lives, really.
And the book examines women and their relationship with money and how that all trickles down and impacts society and the economy. Really, what prompted you to get this book out there? What was it that said, I got to write this book?
Well, we were doing some primary research on women, money, and power, and I was attending some of the focus groups, and when I was listening to women speak, and by the way, some men as well, I began to realize that women are really going to be the biggest change agent in terms of money and the way money works in the 21st century, and I just thought this was a great sort of jumping off point to do more research.
And what do you think about the study that I mentioned a few moments ago, about 47% of the household income now coming from wives?
Yeah, well, it's not a surprise. Actually, over the last 3 decades, it's been the wives' income alone that has allowed families to actually maintain their ability to be in the middle class. That's pretty big.
Also heard that a lot of wives are now going back to work who might not have been at work for a while too.
Yeah, that's why people call this the man session. I mean, the idea that a lot of the industries that men are involved in have not fared so well during the recession, whereas women, especially women now that they are graduating from college in higher numbers than men, they've got the skill set that's really desired by big companies these days.
Now, in the book, you spoke about the different types of women out there, and just a few moments ago, I made a mistake, and we were talking about this right before the show, and I said, the alpha male. My mistake, but the first type of woman that you talk about is the alpha female. So talk about why you needed to classify women and why that helps women knowing where they fall.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't like to overgeneralize, so I want to make sure that we realize we tried to create some segments based on what women told us. So they sort of self-selected, and these were what we call money personalities. Okay. So they have to do with the psychology, the way women feel about money. And there were 5 different segments that women self-selected into. First one was that alpha female, right, and about 18% of women fall into this category. And you were kind of right, because they're kind of the way you think of an aggressive male being in terms of money. They're confident, sort of shoot from the hip. They're doing pretty good with money and feel confident. The second group was the largest group. We call them perceptive planners. And perceptive planners are women who want to get all the information about money. They want to mull things over, take their time making a decision. Also very empowered, both of these groups. The third very empowered group is what we call the power partner, and I probably fall into this category.
You're a power partner.
I am, I'll admit it. About 23% of women fall into this category, and they're the group who feel like 2 heads are better than 1. They like to mull things over with someone else, but not necessarily taking too long to make the decision. And by the way, not necessarily just a husband. It could be a friend, a parent, a child, so it could go in many directions. The other 2 categories or segments were women who were less empowered. Okay. And they're women who may want to think about gaining some skills to become more empowered.
So what's the 4th group there?
Okay, the 4th one is what we call the supportive traditionalist. And by the way, only 8% of women fall into this category, and these women used to be the sort of de facto kind of category that most women fell into. They defer to men in terms of making decisions around money. They like to spend, not save. And this is a woman who might want to think about changing her personality type around money. And the last type is the uncertain searcher. And the uncertain searcher is oftentimes very young, someone who's very inexperienced around money, doesn't know where to get the information so that they can become more empowered about money, and they're very emotional about money. They too are probably going to want to change that personality type.
So where do most women really fall these days?
Well, you would be surprised to know that most women are perceptive planners.
Okay.
I mean, they feel a third of women fall into that category, and that's good news. It means women are gaining confidence and their ability to gain education and ask the right questions. I mean, they're not intimidated to ask questions about money and get the answers that they want.
What do you think women need to work on more than anything else right now when it comes to money?
I think women need to train their financial advisors to be less man-centric and more female-centric. To talk to, if it's a family, to talk to a man and a woman. I mean, I think the idea today is that men and women are becoming more and more equal, and the idea is to become partners, partners in their lives and figuring out what to do with their money and how to make the most of their money. And a financial advisor, for instance, ought to spend their time talking not just to a man, not just to a woman, but to both of them and to both of their needs.
All right, Maddie Teichwald, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for your time. It was
It's been
great
great.
having you here. It was very nice meeting you. And keep it right here on News 12 New Jersey, because coming up right after the break, what type of shopper are you? We'll be right back right after this.